So with the ending of the Call of the Dragon event, and many of you now have either obtained the Object 292 or are trying to sell it, I think it'd be worthy of actually looking back at this event and kind of question it on the simple fact that this event reward, the Object 292, is a Russian vehicle, while the event was based on a Chinese holiday. Now, to be quite honest with you guys, I think the Object 292 was a great event vehicle. It was a unique tank that was not copy-paste, and a vehicle that many people were actually interested in actually obtaining. So I fully understand why Gaijin picked this vehicle over something that's, Chinese and as well unique within the Chinese tech tree, because really, if you think about it, there's not really many tanks that I would say for China at least that could be added as an event vehicle and people would actually be interested in. So with that being said, I want to go over my top vehicles that I would have picked for the Call of the Dragon event. For first one, I'll make sure that it is at least related to China, so it does follow the event. If I'm criticizing Gaijin for actually doing that, I think that, it should actually, kind of follow the rules that I kind of set out for it. But I am going to actually put in some of my own suggestions of what I think a good event vehicle could possibly be in the future of War Thunder, and as well as just something that I would have personally liked to see through this event. Even though the Object 292 was a pretty good event vehicle, I do feel like there's some, better vehicles in my opinion that, they could have used to actually, have a good event vehicle. So really my main criteria of a event vehicle is that it needs to be unique. It really does not need to be copy paste, just like the Jaguar is as coming in the next major event for War Thunder. It also needs to have something kind of pizzazzy about it in a way, like whether it be like the Object 292, which has the 152mm gun, or that it has just something really, cool about it. And then finally, it has to be a vehicle that I think the community would be generally interested in. If it's a vehicle that no one's going to grind out, then what is the point of adding it as an event vehicle other than, for just collectors and people who are, going to play the game more than other people would? But for me, I feel like those are the best ways to describe what an event vehicle should be. It shouldn't be copy paste. It should be something a little bit unique for the tech tree or, that's on the tank itself. And then also there just needs to be a general consensus of this is a pretty cool vehicle that I would want to see within the game. Sadly for China, you do have the fact that there's not really many vehicles that I would consider, like, they definitely have some unique vehicles, but they do not have any vehicles that I would say is, going to be the, spice of the month or the hype train or, that sort of stuff for War Thunder, because not many people know about the Chinese, like tank design. Many of their tanks that they designed, they're kind of just lost to history. There's a bunch of unknowns about them. Not many people actually go out and research them, which is kind of sad about them. And honestly, it just feels like there's a lot of just missing, stuff about them. And you don't really see them, portrayed in media. You don't really see them anywhere. So I very much understand why Gaijin was like the Object 292 would have been a better event vehicle than anything they probably could have picked for China. So before we go to the vehicle I would have chosen for the event, I do fastly want to go over some vehicles that I did consider for the number one position within this, because I feel like, even though they did not win it, and most of the reasons of why they did not win it is because, people don't know about these vehicles. So that's basically the only reason that I wouldn't pick these for an event vehicle, because, people just don't have a general interest within these vehicles in general. But I do think it's kind of important to actually show these vehicles because they're very interesting, and also majority of you, I would assume, probably didn't even know these vehicles existed. So for third place, we have the BW120K. This is a vehicle that is basically a Type 59 that was given a 120mm cannon and pretty much just an upgunned version of a Type 59. That's basically the easiest way to kind of conceive what kind of vehicle this was. We have a vehicle very similar to this already in game, which was the Leopard L44, which just made it a Leopard 1 with a wonderful 120mm cannon. It's basically the same concept. Now, the thing about this vehicle is that it maybe would be a little bit of an issue just depending on, also the reload rate of it, because the turret space within a Type 59 is very, very small. And then just the simple fact of we don't really know what cannon it was. Now, at the end of the day of things, we can kind of, draw some inferences to whatever cannon it probably was. It's probably derivative of some of the Remington guns or, a clone of one of those types of guns. But, it is going to be an interesting one to add to the game. The only thing that I think about this vehicle is that many people don't even know what this is. It is a Type 59. We definitely know where the Type 59s come in the Chinese, evolution of tanks. But having different prototypes or having different, experimental versions of this tank, I don't really think is a big drawing factor to them. I feel like for a lot of people, they would just see this vehicle and be like, man, it's just a Type 59. I don't really think it would be cool or anything like that. For second place, we have the WZ-1224. This vehicle is kind of already in War Thunder with the Object 122 that we currently have as a squadron vehicle for China. But basically what this vehicle was is that the Chinese kind of seen the Leopard 2 was coming about. I believe the Abrams were coming about as well, and also the Challenger. So they wanted to make a vehicle that was very similar to the Leopard 2. But the reason that they just didn't buy a Leopard 2 is because, it's kind of hard to actually import one. But at the same time, they wanted the different ideas of a Leopard 2, very good mobility, pretty decent armor, and, the whole 9 yards whenever it comes to just making a MBT. So overall, it would just be an Object 122 that we have already in War Thunder, but a little bit, better whenever it comes to mobility. And then also it would have some add-on armor plates on the front of it, which would make it a little bit better whenever it comes to the BR bracket that it currently plays at. But once again, I don't think this is a vehicle many people would want to grind out during an event because, once again, it's a vehicle that is not really well known. So not many people would be hyped for this vehicle to actually want it within a War Thunder event. Now, for my number one pick of what I would have chosen for the Chinese event vehicle, that would have followed the theme of the Call of the Dragon event, is the Jaguar. So don't confuse this vehicle by the Jaguar that we're getting within the next major, air event that's coming to War Thunder. But it's a vehicle that was a joint project by China and as well as America to upgrade Type 59s. Now, basically, this tank never came to fruition just because of what happened in 1989. And yes, if you want to know what happened, definitely Google it and as well just, kind of look the area up of history. But since this is a War Thunder channel, we're not going to get involved in that. We're definitely kind of going to skip over of what happened in 1989. Basically, once that happened, China and as well as the relations with America basically kind of just went kaput. And then, we'd never seen the Jaguar come to fruition. So at least to me, the Jaguar is kind of boring. And what I mean by that is basically just what would happen if the Western world was deciding to upgrade a T-54. So it comes with the 105L7, it comes with a very good engine, it comes with a 50 cal, and even some add-on armor. So it's a very westernized version of what would happen if the West got a T-54. And honestly, it's not that bad of a thing, but at the same time, it's kind of boring because in War Thunder, for me at least, I don't really find fun in just playing 105L7s just every single vehicle that you go into. Every nation has, the same guns, it feels like, at top tier, or with them when it comes to like past rank 5 of it's either an L7 or it's a 120 Ramatel clone. That's basically the only thing that you see whenever it comes to that. For me at least, the Jaguar is kind of boring, but I do understand it's a vehicle that, some people, and I would not really say a lot of people would want to see, but it's at least a vehicle that people kind of know about and that they would want to see, added into War Thunder. And I think it would have made a great event vehicle whenever it comes to the Call of the Dragon event. So now I know some of you are probably going into the comments right now being like, Dawg, where's the WZ-111? And I know for a lot of you, that would probably been your pick for an event vehicle for China. But for me, at least, I feel like that vehicle maybe will come during one of the Dream Come True event, which is on the War Thunder anniversary, because the vehicle itself is very shrouded in mystery of if the turret even existed, and as well as just what kind of gun it would have. So it definitely is a vehicle that is kind of on the tier list of being a fake vehicle, but the hull itself was actually made. So, I mean, it probably will come to War Thunder at some point, but I don't think that vehicle itself will ever come to an event like style that we're doing kind of now. It will definitely be a Dream Comes True event if it ever does come to War Thunder. Now, finally, because Gaijin did it, I want to do it. I'm going to pick my personal pick whenever it comes to an event vehicle that I would like to see whenever it comes to ground forces and whenever it comes to the Call of Dragon event. So definitely just kind of going out on a limb here and saying that I don't care that it was the theme of the, event was different. We are going to talk about a vehicle that I think would have actually been a really good one, which would have been the M62000. So if you don't know what the M62000 is, just imagine that you take an Abrams turret, which has the 120mm cannon on it, and you slap it on top of an M60. Yes, it does look funny, it does look hilarious, and the whole point of this thing was actually for General Dynamics to actually sell this vehicle to countries that already had a surplus or, their main tank was the M60 as some sort of upgrade option whenever it came to, making these tanks a little bit better. Because as you know, not everyone's America, not everyone, has the budget to just keep on designing tanks. So whenever just something works, they definitely want to keep it. And if the M60s that they have currently work, and then they're able to upgrade them for half or, even a quarter of the cost of a new tank, they would actually take that option instead of going, into, a brand new design that is not proven, it's not, going to actually do anything for them. So that's kind of the purpose of the M62000. Now, the thing is that not many countries were actually interested in this. Now, really, the only country that was actually interested in actually buying this sort of upgrade package from General Dynamics was Turkey. And then Turkey was like, nah, we'll just go with what Israel's making. And then, it never came to fruition. So basically, this tank was destroyed. or really wasn't destroyed. It was probably just parted out back to, you know, the another Abrams, and as well as just the M60 probably went to a museum somewhere in America. But at the end of the day, it's a vehicle that's very interesting. I don't really think that it serves a purpose being added into the texture itself, nor do I feel like it's ever going to come in as a premium now, because we have vehicles now like the M1A1 Clickbait, which just is a better version of an M62000. And I don't really think many people would buy the M62000 just because, you know, the Clickbait is already there. Now, if we want to talk about in War Thunder terms, it's going to be an M60 hull that meets an M1A1 turret. So basically the turret itself is going to be pretty all right. And then the hull of the tank is just going to be memeable. You should be able to pin it with pretty much anything. And that would probably be the downfall of this tank. So it'd probably go at a battle rating of, you know, 10.0 or maybe even 10.3 at the maximum. But the thing that Gaijin would definitely have to do for this vehicle is limit the ammo types that's actually able to shoot. M829A1 is a little bit too strong for this vehicle, especially being at around like 10.0 to 10.3, but M829 should be very easily accessible for this vehicle and also just be pretty decent in general. So basically the M62000 would be a vehicle that's very similar to the M60 AMBT that we currently have for America, but it'd just be pretty unique, and I don't really see it being added as a event vehicle, maybe as a squadron vehicle at some point for War Thunder, but definitely it does have the smell of an event vehicle, and I'd love to see it when it comes to War Thunder. So what ground vehicles would you have picked for the Call of the Dragon event? Do you think the Object 292 was one of the best picks Gaijin could actually, you know, have chosen for this event? Do you think that it actually matters that it wasn't a Chinese vehicle, even though the event was kind of based around a Chinese holiday? Definitely leave that sort of stuff in the comments, and I hope all you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you guys in the next War Thunder video.